Hey, greetings, everybody. Welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot. We're a place where we spread light, love, and angelic vibes across the universe. We're also helping to solve crimes. So I'm really glad you guys could join me. I'm sending heart beams of love out to all the people who have been helping me, to my light team who I love, who I genuinely love, and to the good federal agents who have been helping to save my life. Thank you ever so much. You have no idea how much gratitude I have in my heart. Today, we're not going to do any astrology. We're going to do some homemade cards because I just feel like we are hopefully in the middle of the Great American Reset. This so needs to happen because it's become so evident lately that we're out of control in so many ways, with corruption, with greed, with agencies that don't work or serve the American public, but are working on a pay for play system. And, we're becoming something that we can no longer be proud of. And if you care about your country, you want to hit that reset button. And I'm one of those people that feels this way. Okay. We need the great reset. And people are helping to do that. More and more of us are waking up and saying that what's going on is not cool, shouldn't be happening, and that we need to be better than this, right? And so, what is really at stake with all of this? Well, it's the soul of our nation, right? The absolute soul of America. That's what's at stake. And Pluto in our nation's chart is in an area of earned income and values. And unfortunately, we were kind of born out of this energy in 1776, and it all came from corruption and greed, and we're hardwired for it. And we're seeing that. We got rid of the Tories, but we're seeing the whole thing play itself all over again. And because it is innately positioned in our chart for these things to happen, we really need to consciously work on changing, guess what? Our value system, as well as our laws, and recognize this energy as part of our country. Big greed, big corporations, big corruption, underhanded politics, devious things to make money. That's part of who we are, like it or not. But knowing that the energy is there allows us to reset if we want. And again, Pluto is going to be coming into Aquarius, where we have the opportunity where we could put the power back into the hands of the people and clean up some of where we are, so that we are actually a government of the people, for the people, and by the people, and not of the corrupt politicians, for the corrupt politicians, and by the corrupt politicians, as well as the corrupt corporations that own them. Okay, because anymore, America no longer feels like it's for Americans. And I'm just being truthful. So we need to rethink our value system. Do we value corporations, or do we value people who are the backbone of this nation? The last 6 years have taught me one thing for sure. We have completely lost our way in this country. And if you love your country, that's a horrifying thing, right? And we have become something that I no longer recognize, and that terrifies me, right? We've become so bad, so irresponsible, so out of control, that I no longer see what I grew up in, right? And that's a really scary thing, right? We, just like Russia, have an oligarchy that feels they are above the law. And they use all the systems of government to money launder and steal and cheat and thieve from the 99% that they are supposed to be representing. We have become the quintessential pork barrel politics and greed, right? Where, it's all, instead of going to Washington to serve, to be in a position of honor where you can help your fellow countrymen, to, it's a duty. It's something to be proud of. Instead, it's become, I want to get there so I can rape the system and make mine, get mine, right? And the way that they're doing that is by screwing over the 99%. So, and it's more than one thing that's broken. It's not just Stinky Hill that's having trouble right now. We have all kinds of institutions that are operating at less than decent levels. Okay. We have churches that have been caught up laundering sex trafficking money. One thing that's become very clear to me lately is that we are a nation that hates women, and women are some of the worst culprits. How many women attacked other women during this? And they did it for greed, for nails and, clicky nails and purses, and, because they're part of cults and secret societies and they feel entitled, right? And we've allowed these secret societies to go. And I'm going to talk more about that later, but I started reading a book. Oh, the secret societies are a brotherhood of good people doing good things. No, that's not what I'm seeing at all. They're a brotherhood of people who feel entitled, who have bought off whole portions of the justice system and are using their power to rape money off of court cases of the 99%. I don't see a single benevolent thing coming out of them. It's an organized crime ring of thieves. Okay. And part of what they did was sex traffic me. And again, the whole, who did what needs to really be sussed out, because the entire point of doing what they did was to destroy a woman so thoroughly that she would never be able to rise again, never be able to fight back, never be able to, get any of the things that were coming towards her. It was to completely annihilate a human being, all for greed. So, and there were so many people involved. It wasn't just, a twin or a Scorpio or this or that. There were so many people potentially involved. Now, we don't know because we need to get to the bottom of who paid, right? That's where we really have to get down to the bottom of who paid, because there were secret societies, there were gang members, there were truck drivers, there were church covens, there were witches and cults. So you can't assume, and I want to really make that point as we delve in. Anything I say here, you can't make the assumption that I'm referring to any one particular person, right? Because there were literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people involved in this, and more keep turning up. Drug cartels, secret societies, endless amounts of people. And of course, in those thousands of people that are involved, there are many Leos, there are many Scorpios, there are many Geminis, right? So we can't make any assumptions, and we shouldn't, because what we really need to do is find out who paid the 500K to take me out. That's what we really need to find out, right? So that we know who, initiated this whole series of chain of events. And in truth, because I'm a targeted individual for saving my country, by the way, we have a number of groups that could have paid for different aspects of things, and federal prosecutors. I would really like you to get down to the bottom of who paid for what. And of course, right now, there's a lot of scrambling going on where people are trying to hide what they've done, and nobody wants this to come out. But this is why we need the Great American Reset, because this kind of stuff has been going on for decades. When Stinky Hill gets stinky and cesspool-like, the feeling is always, let's just cover that up. We don't want people to know. And that's why Stinky Hill stinks like it does, right? And I say this with a good heart, because we all want a country that we can look up to. We want leadership we can look up to. We want to look at that hill and see a shining beacon on a hill, not Stinky Hill, right? So it's essential that we figure out who paid for what out of the many groups involved. So don't make any assumptions about it. Was this particular masculine or this particular Leo or Scorpio or Gemini or this or that? You can't do that, because in truth, there were probably by now thousands of people involved through their various contacts, cartels, groups, etc. But there's a lot of bad things happening. And one other thing that's happening, I started the ball rolling to try to get Child Protective Service fixed, because one of the MOs that the secret society is using, or somebody Now, I say somebody, right? Because again, I don't know who. Um, but somebody was using a nasty picture to rape money off of court cases. And then I got that reported so that that could be fixed. And then the next thing I find out is that Child Protective Services is being bribed because everybody in our government evidently is bribable, right? So I really think we need to open a case with CPS. We really do. You need to go back and see who is reporting issues, and because part of the MO was to send a nasty picture out right at the very beginning of the case, like I'm going to get ready because I want to rape money off of court cases. So whoever that was, whoever that entity was, find out how many times that's been done. Was it an individual? Was it a secret society? Was it a particular group? Then track all the payments for, and then think about the poor kids that are getting used in this fashion to steal money, and also the horror that they're placing in another person's home, the terror, right? And then make sure that you get the officials who were bribed, unbribed, and resolve this filth in our country. Okay. They're abusing children for money. I mean, that's just thoughtless and gutless and completely without morals. So please check into that. And again, this nasty picture MO is being used as a form of crimes against humanity and children, and it's a means of making money, and it's filthy beyond compare. So I think you need to go back and see when court cases or big investigations happen, find out who's going into the house, who's the main entry point. And again, I don't know who that is. And then find out how many times the nasty picture thing has been used, who's doing it, and are they funding a ostentatious lifestyle off of this? I think we need to know, okay, and we need to know who. We do have top politicians, some of whom you know and probably really like, who are involved in secret societies, who could be involved in stuff like this. And it could include taking money on the back end from sex trafficking. And they're doing this with bought off judges, lawyers, and cops. And who knows what the other MO is? I don't know if they're using the nasty picture too. We need to find out. So again, the reason they're bribing CPS officials is because they want to keep stealing, right? And cover up what they've done. So, but we need to open investigations into all this. If we want the Great American Reset, we want the filth out of our government. We want pedophilia stuff to stop. We want the harming of innocent families to stop. We want the stealing to stop. You need to open a case and find out who's been using the nasty picture, how often, what was the outcome, was it done for stealing, what happened to the poor family they did it to, and what happened to the poor child, right? Nobody's thinking about the poor kids in any of this. All right, so I'm going to suggest, again, because we are broken and I'm at the point of we don't need red and blue anymore, spiritual or religious. We just need decent people to fight for decency in our country. So I would suggest to people work across the aisles. Rhonda Kennedy has a lot of information about what's been going on. And if you want to clean up our government so it doesn't look like a filth pot, I would suggest you tap into what she knows. Stuff I read online indicated that she is aware of other people who've been sex trafficked when, investigations happen and court cases happen, and there are other lawsuits out there. And again, I don't know who it is, but you need to find out, right? Because we have a pattern of things going on where we're corrupting the DOJ and we're using filthy means to do it, and sex trafficking is occurring. And some of our officials are profiting on the back end from these cases, right? So this is about restoring decency to our country, or at least I sure hope so. Again, because we've become something filthy and unrecognizable to my eyes. And I'm a person who loves my country very much, and I don't know what to say about where we are. Now, let's talk about the fact that my entire law and order state failed me. from A to Z, beginning in my town all the way up to the top of my state. And what happened here regarding a whole bunch of government officials was that they aided in sex trafficking me. So we now have a country who is promoting the sex trafficking of women, right? In a law and order state, we have churches helping, we have government officials helping, and we have become a filthy nation, right? So another investigation that needs to happen is who was involved in my state. I know officials were bought and paid for. Some of them gave somebody the keys to my house. That's how pictures were taken off my fridge, so people could say they were having a relationship with me, you know, and flash the picture around. I've never met that person or talked to that person. Anyhow, whoever had the keys to my house illegally, and they still have them, right? So they could walk in anytime because of this. We need to open an investigation and find out what officials were bought in my home state. And again, it's extremely important because somebody paid $500K to take me out. Who paid? Right? Who paid? Because that money got shared around. And in addition to, buying off sheriffs and mayors and things like that, they also engaged gangbangers, witch covens. I hear drug cartels are involved, all kinds of people. And now I have a hitman living in a hotel in my neighborhood casing me. Okay. So, and again, I bought software off the internet, but when things came down, I saved my country from a great fall. So I really don't deserve where I am. I'm just saying. And officials are taking money off the back end of the national pornography program. That's what we have. We have a national porn program that our government is sponsoring via, I think when an official doesn't like somebody, they tap on someone's shoulder, they give them a suitcase of money and say, I want you to take this person out. Right. And then the whole wheels get churning and the whole cartel starts working and they make money off of it. And I'm told that there's a CIA guy right now who's making money off the pay for porn program that was run in my house. Who set that up? Who asked for that? Did somebody pay for that? I mean, I kind of want to know. Right. And when it comes down to judges and the DOJ, well, so far, here's what I've been told. There's a mob bitch judge who's involved. She works for the bad guys, right? I will never probably know, but one of these people, perhaps, or maybe not, had links to somebody they sent to my place of work in Boston to try to lure me away so that they could kidnap me because they don't want their activities to come out, right? So when we have bought off officials, then they will do anything to cover the fact that they're working for the bad guys. So we really need to fix the DOJ, and the mob bitch judge is one of them. The Pocahontas judge, who hasn't been able to do the right thing because he's running a prostitution ring and porking one of his hoes, he can't do the right thing either. And kind of what sort of example does that set when, people who are supposed to bring in justice are running illegal, filthy businesses behind the scenes and porking their hoes too. So we need to fix that, right? Probably because my whole state was involved, there's probably a local judge that needs to be dealt with. I don't know who that is, but you probably do, and I sure would like the filth in my state to be fixed as well. Then there was a bishop who stole money and bought a house, and he's got a paid judge that he worked with. Now, all this is just a small smattering. I have a feeling this is a much bigger problem, right? So who pays for all of these positions? Well, the taxpayers do, don't we? And we have the sense that when we pay for agencies like the DOJ, they're going to work. But in reality, that's not what's happening at all. It's all a pay-for-play system, and it's working for the rich people with the suitcases of money and for the mobs and the cartels. So taxpayers who are getting squeezed to death, middle class disappearing, we're paying for the systems that are profiting the 1% who have the suitcases of money. So we need to start dealing with where we are with the DOJ. Okay. Now, I don't know this, but I have had to wonder who is the worst sex trafficker in our country. And I have come up with the thought that perhaps it's Big G, right? If Rhonda has information about this going on before, you need to go back. You need to start looking who you're putting into people's houses, what officials, what's happening when they're there, are they getting trafficked? And then watch the flow of money. Who's getting the unexplained income? Unless you want this to happen in your house, right? A pay for porn program for buying software, or, a snow cone, or sneakers, or, whatever it is that you do that enables this whole chain of events to unravel in a civilized, decent nation. If you don't want that to happen in your house, you need to start trying to figure out who the perverts are in our government and why we're enabling a national pornography program. All right, Joe, you inherited it, but it's your problem. So there you go. And again, work with Rhonda Kennedy across the aisle to start fixing the porn for pay program. And yes, Joe, you inherited this. I don't blame you for it, but now you're aware of it, and it's up to you to start bring decency back to our country again. I really want to know, what are you doing to fix this? Right? I know everybody wants to cover this up and hide it, because that's what we always do when Stinky Hill goes wrong. And that's why Stinky Hill is like a cesspool, because we keep hiding it and covering it up and pardoning it and pretending like it didn't happen and shadow banning the videos because we don't really want to know. But actually, you know what? If you want to live in a decent country, right, where you can look up to your leadership, where you can look to that shining beacon on a hill and actually feel proud about what's going on there, hiding it is the worst possible thing that you could do, because we're in need of a great American reset. Huge, right? Why should we be paying for judges that are taking suitcases of money to work for the bad guys? Just asking. Okay. Now, again, please don't make any assumptions based on who this is, because there are thousands of people involved. There are cults where they're having, widespread sex amongst the groups. Lots of people involved, thousands by this point. So it's not fair for anyone to assume that I'm talking about any specific person here. And there's men and women involved, international people, right? This went out of the country and involved people and drug cartels, all mobsters, truck drivers, bikers, so don't assume you know who, because you don't. But someone is spreading STDs, and I'm told that someone wanted to give me an STD. That's the level of intention that we have going on with people, like purposefully wanting to do this to another human being. Just, time for mental health care check, right? I'm also told, and it could be a man or a woman in this case, and yet, no, I'm straight, just so you know. I'm also told that somebody has broken into my medical records twice illegally. They are altering my medical records, probably bringing them to a fake judge saying I have something I don't have. And guess what? I took the test, and I'll take any other tests you want. But the STD that's going around has nothing to do with me. My test, of course, is negative. I've been in a 35-year monogamous marriage. I don't do one-night stands. I don't sleep around. I'm not a prostitute, like they said, But again, this was all about destroying a woman and her reputation for money. Okay? So, and again, I bring this up because whether you're red or blue, both sides, as a woman in my country right now, I feel hated as a woman by both sides. Absolutely hated. And for a variety of reasons. From, people wanting to brainwash little girls into submissivity, to disempowering women and removing birth control because people are terrified of little brown babies, to, just wanting to feel big and large and in charge by knocking women down. And of course, women are knocking women down too. But again, as a woman, this is what I endured. And again, what did I do? I bought software, right? That was it. I've been sex trafficked. There are people who have unexplained income I want to know where it came from. Somebody, I'm told, bought a boat and an RV off my crotch. I want to know where the money came from. And again, I think if you go back to other cases, if you go back in time, you're going to see a pattern. Where did the money come from? Whose crotch was that from? And why are we sponsoring a national pornography program, Joe? I want to know, right? I really want to know. I'm one of those concerned American citizens and I want answers. So, how did I get put on OnlyFans or fans only or whatever that is? Who sent the dirty pictures to the inmates and was selling them, right? Because, somebody gained access to my house, planted awful cameras, and then went about selling my body for, what, cocaine or whores or, what was it? What did Stinky Hill need, Joe? What did they need, right? We all want to know, what did they need that they're selling crotch for? I want to know. And you're the man in charge. I moved heaven and earth to get you in that spot. Heaven and earth. Heaven and earth. So that we would still have a party, right? Because in a coup, if the coup goes through, your party's done. The losing party's done. I moved heaven and earth. Okay. All right. There's more than one person profiting off of this filth. You need to look into secret society members. The secret society is, not a group of nice people. They're not doing benevolent things. They're stealing money from American citizens using horrible fucking tactics. And a lot of the people work in our government, right? It's not a benevolent brotherhood. It's an organized crime ring that's destroying the DOJ. Okay. Now, a few of the other things that happened, again, when I was in Boston, they planted a camera head in my shower. That was done strategically because, they had a fake power of attorney over my life. And they were trying to prove that I was crazy. And they were doing that by whoever this was. Again, whoever, right? I don't know. But hopefully you do. Religiously trying to do horrible things to me to get a reaction so they could say, oh, see, she's crazy. Of course, if you found a shower head with a camera in it, you'd be pretty upset. And also, they were doing that to all my roommates too. So this was like, widespread porn and probably selling it and, creating lurid videos and, all of this for money, right? Because these are the quality of people that we're putting into people's houses, right, Joe? Okay. All right. Now, the other thing that's been happening, I've had people hijacked in my phone for years now. I can't get them out. I bought another phone. They were in it in 15 seconds. And they literally, I catch them looking up stuff in my phone constantly. They downloaded a second direct messaging system, like they were going to be doing direct messaging all of their own without me even knowing, pretending to be me out of my phone. But they're also jumping videos. So when I'm watching YouTube videos trying to figure out what's going on, they'll jump to a video. Oh, he loves you. Oh, he just can hardly wait to meet you. You're his everything. I mean, a video I would look at and go, oh my God, I'm so sick of seeing these lies. And boom, I'm jumped there and it's turned on so that in court they can then say, look, there was a love relationship and there's still an item and this and that. There was never an item. I never spoke to the man. Never, not once, never. So anyhow, that's somebody, and I don't listen when I run into crap like that. I stop it. But they're jumping videos, trying to make some kind of, witchy point, I guess. All right. Now, in reality, who am I actually? I'm certainly not a prostitute. I'm an extremely modest woman. I grew up as a Mennonite. These are people that cover to here, cover their hair, long dresses. I didn't do that, but that's the culture that I grew up in. I'm in a monogamous marriage. I have been harmed before as a woman, and so I am super careful in love. So all of these things that were said about me were absolutely false, right? I'm super careful, like triple careful. So again, but they've perjured themselves in court. They filed false prostitution charges, false drug charges. You're welcome to a hair follicle, my friends. The only thing you'll find is Advil. And all of this was done, this filthatization of a woman was done for money, to steal money. And then if a court case came back, would be to say, oh, look, she's a whore, she's this, she's a that. They told my whole community, my small town, that I was a prostitute. They also told them that I was a pedophile because they used the pedophile picture to steal money off of court cases. And this is in a little town. Can you imagine what I've been through? No, you can't possibly. But where did all of this energy come from, Joe? It came from Stinky Hill now, didn't it? Stinky Hill and the secret societies and all of that stuff, right? Or from the person who paid the $500K to take me out in any fashion possible. So I think it's time we need a special counsel just to disclose and discover the corruption that we've got going on in our government. That's how bad this is. And again, somebody's got pictures they stole off of my fridge, right? Using a set of keys that I'm told local sheriffs made for the bad guys, right? Have a look, sheriffs, what you did, right? You let the bad people into my house. But again, I live in a law and order state. I want an investigation in my state of Utah. Now, all right, Joe, I got a really good question for you, all right? What does my party stand for? Well, one of the things it's supposed to stand for is women. One of the things it's supposed to stand for is women. How did all these people get in my house, Joe? How did they get in my house? How did I get sex trafficked? Who sent the pictures to the inmates? There was more than one person involved in the Bury Me Alive plot. They have it on tape. Who are you putting into houses, Joe? Or whoever else. And again, I don't know. I'm guessing a lot of people were in my house, right? But the witches that came through the door, with this whole process are still on my ass, right? So somebody opened the door, whoever that was. And witches and warlocks from all over the world came in, and this is how we got the fake spiritualists, right? And the, but they were all in my shower. They were doing a pay for porn program, right? I'm told many wealthy people bought the pay for porn, right? I want the names, Joe. I want the names of who set this up, who was participating in the illegal voyeurism, why you are running a filthy national porn program in our country. And I know that wasn't you, right? I know it wasn't you, but you're, the leader, and we need answers out here. I want this fixed, right? It's not fixed yet. They blocked my job because, when you steal money from someone, you have to beat that bitch down so you can keep the money that you stole, right? So a lot of what's been happening is a continual effort to keep me unemployed so that they could say, well, see, she's unemployed, so that's why we need to keep the money we stole, right? Okay, now my new job, they're hacking. They are altering receipts electronically. Every time I log in, they zoom in, but now they have been zooming in on other people, right? And tills are showing up short, and I suspect probably major credit card fraud going on. This was all, who did we let in the house, Joe? Who let witches and warlocks in my house? And again, America the Beautiful, one nation under God. How is it that we have witches and warlocks entering people's homes in a godly nation? I don't know, but I think you should find out. Okay. Um, they have, out of malice and because they were paid to bully and dehumanize a woman in a party that's supposed to uplift women. And I've always done my best to support women, most especially in my party, because I believe in women supporting women. I would just wish other women would believe the same way. But they have cost me my career. And now they are trying, whoever these people are, trying to cost me my current job. Some of this is so they can steal money, and because bullying is so much fun, and also out of extreme jealousy. So, the other thing I've heard is that there have been some fake messages sent. I will polygraph on any messages you have, because I would never send messages of the type I've heard threatening people's lives. No. So, and again, they also downloaded a second direct message program on my phone, which I found and disabled. But there are sometimes as many as 5 people jumping in on my phone, and they're altering stuff and moving things around. And it's like a daily battle, and I can't get them out. But this all happened because, we had the really great officials in my home who allowed all of this to unravel, right? I can't conduct any business on my phone. I have a hitman living nearby, and all of this started with Stinky Hill, right? Um, and, someone is also perjuring themselves in court, right? So, and again, the Bury Me Alive plot was crafted with intention to torture. And there was more than one person involved. And though people would like to say, oh, I just fell into the, Bury Alive plot unintentionally, it was just a little accident. In reality, Red Room is not an accident. That takes forethought and planning, and you have to have a motive and all of that, right? And again, I don't know who this is, and you shouldn't assume. You really shouldn't, because, again, there are thousands of people involved. But $500K was paid to take me out, right? And the FBI knows who. You need to read my book, Federal Prosecutors, because, again, I could say, Leo did this or whatever. There's millions of Leos in the country. There's millions of Scorpios. There's millions of this and that. But if you read my book, you'll get a sense of the multiple entities who were potentially involved. Because again, I solved the coup. I gave my party the exact blueprint of what happened and who did it and how, right? And so we need to find out who paid, right? And people don't want to think about the fact that I stopped the coup. I gave the blueprint of how it happened, and I saved my country from a great fall. And we would not have a party had I not done what I did, right? Do I regret buying software off the internet? Yes. But does that make me culpable in any of this? No. Had nothing to do with any of it, and I will polygraph to that too. So we are, however, seeing a lot of obsessions happening with people who can't quit stalking, following, tracking my every move, my every phone call, my every email, taking job opportunities, blocking me from applying for things, even down to kind of a sickness. Like if I applied for a job with a good salary, they blocked it, right? So there's some very weird mental illness going on where somebody is trying to determine my worth as a human being and blocking every opportunity that doesn't fit their vision of who I am. And again, I don't know what's going on there, but I think we have some serious mental health and emotional problems happening with some of the people who are involved. And no, Red Room was not an accident. It was a planned, connived plot. And it comes back to the $500K that was paid to take me out. And again, I continually hear about the hitman who's nearby living in a hotel, the sniper, etc. So I think it is time that we begin to talk about malignant narcissistic personality disorder. And we've seen this multiple times in the course of our history in our government with people who are unwell. And I don't know, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not saying any particular person has this. I'm not qualified to do so. But I have read enough books to know that when somebody has this, they do not look at people as people. They look at people as objects to be used. And when they extract what they want, they then leave the lifeless skin of the person behind after they've gotten what they want, right? We could screen for all of this. We've had trouble with this in the government in the past, and it causes enormous difficulties, right? Because mental illness is very, it can cause a lot of issues. We could screen for this and start trying to get this out of our government, right? I have compassion for people who have trouble like this. But when you are at the point of looking at people as nothing but objects to stick a straw in so you can suck them dry of every living spiritual material they have, copycatting, money, job blocking, so you can go, right? And vampire suck. That's a problem, right? So, but we need to get this so that we're testing for this so we have less issues, right? We've seen a lot of issues like that lately in our government. I'm not naming names. I'm not even qualified to do so, but it's an issue. We also have a problem with people who are clout hungry, right? Who will do anything for fame and money and to be in the limelight, right? And we've got some egos that are out of control. And, some of the egos are built around having material things like the wealth, the showy this, the showy that, and stealing people's ideas and using them and trying to block other people's abilities because, if you can just hold other people down, well, then maybe you can shine brighter. So anyhow, I think we just need to start looking for other cases where things like this have happened to maybe women whose houses have been invaded or other people, right? So you need to start looking for the common denominators. How many cases have had issues like this? How many people who have been in court cases have been sex trafficked? Where's the unexplained income coming from? I think you need to start asking the hard questions and you need to find whatever the common denominator is, right? Who's the perv? We need to find the perv, Joe, or the pervs, right? So how about you start looking for the perv, right? Because we would like this fixed in America. So, and it could be the secret society, just could be a rogue agent who is hooked up with cartels and likes making money through illicit means. We don't know. So review old court cases, right? Start seeing when a nasty picture was used of a child and who got sex trafficked and who got the money, who got the payout. And then you could solve the national pornography program. And again, that would be so powerful because this is being done to disempower women. And of course, my party is supposed to represent women, not be selling their most intimate body parts, right, for RVs and boats and stuff, right? So this is kind of Hannibal Lecter energy, wherever this is coming from. And again, I don't know because there were so many people allowed into the house. But it's a terrifying energy, and this should not be happening in a civilized, democratic society, right? And of course, this is because this is so lucrative selling crotch, right? We have entire sections of the DOJ that have been bought off to support this. Rhonda knows about this. She's witnessed this in California. Judges, cops, lawyers, right? Go back, figure out the crimes. You could be a hero, Joe. Solve the national porn program, break down the cartels that, the judges were paying for that are working for the bad guys. I mean, you could be a hero for this stuff. And the 99% who are paying for DOJ would like it to actually work for the 99% and not be a suitcase operation, right? That actually favors the rich yet is supported by the ever-shrinking middle class. There's another judge. I don't know if he's one of the ones I already mentioned, Porcahoathon or whoever, but he has paperwork that that was fraudulently presented that already shows that I'm dead now, right? They so anticipated being able to kill me with the witchcraft and the torture that they conducted in my house, and the mirror, mirror, and we're going to steal everything of who you are and torture you to death. They were so sure they were going to get it done, and they had life insurance policies that the judge has paperwork, one of these bought off judges, showing I'm dead. Meanwhile, there's a doppelganger from the secret society, maybe, we don't know, or maybe just a cult or coven, or, one of those great people we're letting in the house who's ready to replace me, right? Could be the same person who stole my book, right? How did this person get in my house, Joe? I want to know. I want to know. I do. I want to know. How did all of these people get in my house? I mean, it was a pay-for-porn show, right? You could be the hero of our country by resolving this problem and fixing the DOJ. So I have faith in you. I moved heaven and earth to get you in charge. Heaven and earth. We have a party because of what I did. If I hadn't done what I did, we would be living in a much different society, right? We have a party because I did what I did. Okay, now this person who, the doppelganger, I think the spell work, is starting to cause mental illness, because the mirror, mirror spell, this person actually thinks she's me, right? So, and now they're using the courts to show that she's me. And it's a little sick, right? A little ill. And this is so prevalent right now. Obviously, we have a growing witchcraft problem in our country. And we need witchcraft laws now. Really, we do, with sentences for the mirror, mirror torture, with sentences for all the other plots and things that they do, the slander, the this and the that. We also need to make it illegal for complete strangers to file a fake power of attorney over you, or to buy insurance policies on somebody you don't know, right? I mean, this is all set up for the criminals. And somebody and again, I'm talking to the world, so don't make any assumptions, right? Because I'm talking to the whole world. But somebody had life insurance policies on me. And a cop was one of them, right? The protect and serve kind of guys. He had a life insurance policy on me. And they were planning on torturing me to death with witches. And if that didn't work, there was always the hitman, or the bury me alive, or the poison me plot, or the kidnap me plot. And sitting in the middle of at least a whole bunch of this is this secret society, Joe. This secret society that's not a benevolent brotherhood, but an organized crime ring. That's bought off entire sections of the DOJ so that they can steal from the American public using bought judges, lawyers, and cops. And of course, it's working, because the DOJ now works for suitcases of money. Someone is lying their ass off. And again, I don't know who that is. Again, I'm talking to millions of people, but you probably know who's lying their ass off by now, don't you? So again, if I win any court cases, don't send me any checks in the mail. They're stealing everything. I haven't received a single thing, not one thing, nothing, right? They're stealing everything. I'm lucky that I still have a house, right? And as a result of what happened, buying software. And again, I understand that bad people did stuff with the malware. That's the whole point of malware, right? But I don't know how to hack. I don't have any technological skills like that. And even if I did, I wouldn't use it for ill will. I'm just not a technological kind of gal. And I don't believe in ruining people's lives for, shit, Gucci bags and clicky nails and stuff like that. But as a result of the people that came in my house in the 500K hit job, my life has been in constant danger. Constant. Every day I go to work and I have to look around me to see who's driving next to me because I hear they want to cause me a car accident. I've heard they want to put an HVAC system so they can pump some kind of poisonous gas into my house. They've already poisoned my husband 3 times, right? And I had not one thing to do with this. Now, you guys could have gone after the Russians. Did you? No. The person who sold her data to the Russians, what did he get? 6 months in jail. 6 years later, I'm still paying, right? 6 years later, as the victim, I'm still paying, right? If you read the book, you know exactly who plotted the coup. You know how they did it. You know everything. Did you go after them? No. Oh, okay. Why? You tell me. I wish I could know. But I'm tired of being the victim and having my life in danger for saving my country. I'm just saying. Okay, so whatever this is, I would appreciate it if my government would return to civility and decency and stop with the witchcraft, warlock, torture program. Okay? Because you could have polygraphed me 6 years ago and found out everything you needed to know. And right now in our country, the dark forces are winning. And when I say dark, I mean evil, right? We're becoming something I no longer recognize. And it's terrifying. There are even a few feds who have taken bribes to help. Now, at the cop level, it's bad enough, right? But I hear from some people, this has been going on for years with the cops. At the Fed level, I expect better, right? And it is, in truth, because of good feds that I'm alive at all, right? But we need to clean up where we are. We need the great American reset. And if you give one shit about your country, you're going to hear my voice and you're going to get busy on this because we're losing it, folks. We look like the KGB. We look like every other effed up nation in the world. I want better for my country. These problems should not be coming out of Stinky Hill. And the fact that they are shows that it's time for a reset. You need to put the power back into the hands of the people. We need to get anti-corruption laws in place, daily polygraphs for cops, judges, lawyers, so that Americans are not paying for a DOJ that can't deliver justice, right? We need a special counsel for corruption in the government. We do. And I would like it to start with my party, right? Because I want to be able to look at my party and be proud and not wonder, was it my own party that trafficked me? Or was it, did someone in my own party let somebody through the door who then trafficked me? I mean, we need to start asking the hard questions. How did the people get in my house, Joe? How did they all get in my house? I want to know, how was the pay for porn program run over into my house? Was it over a certain media platform? Who paid? Who all was illegally voyeuring me? Why did no one say they had cameras in my shower? How many people think they're above the law? Okay. Now, in addition to, the secret society, we also had a bishop who stole money in a house. And I guess there's a lot of laundering of money going on. And he's using a fake judge to get off because we have whole groups of people right now in our country who believe they are completely above the law, right? Some of them have signed documents saying they are. Many work in the government. Some are in secret societies, but we have whole groups of people that think that, they can just do whatever they want, right? And again, we have a bishop who has a bought-off judge. So again, I think it's time to start writing checks for the corruption. Yeah, if we can't clean up the corruption so that when court cases go through and people win because they had nothing to do with anything, but the money goes to corrupt individuals because the whole system's bought off, then the government needs to start writing checks for the corruption. And then maybe the government would fix the corruption problem. It's just a thought, Joe. Okay, so I'm hoping that the federal prosecutors, the 150 who were involved to help me out, have read my book, Betrayed, by now, that AOC and Merrick Garland had a copy of. because you need to know what went down, right? And we need to know who paid the 500K. I keep hearing, oh, my path is open, but my path is not open. So here's another thing you need to check into, because I've been trying for a year to get my OPM records, and I'm getting the world's greatest runaround. So, somebody probably bribed OPM to hang on to the records, right? Yeah, so here's yet one more. Let's block. And again, did I have anything to do with this? Not one thing. So my rights are being violated right and left. I'm paying for what other people did. Had nothing to do with it. Oh, and by the way, maybe that's the freezer spell, because when you steal money from people and you hide it in accounts overseas and you do that kind of shit, you don't want somebody to have a job so they can fight back. So then you put a freezer spell on their entire life, including their career, so that you can keep what you stole. Welcome to Stinky Hill. Yeah. All right, and a lot of what's been done has been to destroy my light and life, so a group of warlocks and witches could, and prepare yourself for this, vampires suck. We need witchcraft laws, Joe. Yes, we do. The trying to steal every idea you have, trying to steal everything you do, everything you start, they're going to rob. These people came in the door, Joe. How did they get in the door? I want to know. How did they get in my house? I want to know, Joe. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. And I have every respect for you, because I believe you're a good guy, and I moved heaven and earth to get you into office. And I saved our party. And I've heard that there's some people that don't appreciate that. But the truth is, if I hadn't done what I've done, we wouldn't have a party at all. And that's the truth. So we have lost our way in our country. Part of the reason this is happening is because we have a two-party system where winner takes all, right? And so we're at the point of murdering, thieving, lying, cheating, stealing, hurting elections, doing crazy shit to win, because if you can just get in the door, you can get everything you want. So the two-party system has run its course. It's now tearing our country apart. It's pitting American against American. And when we have people on the outside who are willing to kill us all and are just hoping that we rile ourselves up enough that we do the job for them. So we need territories. We need to give people more of what they want without imposing their ideas onto everyone else. And we need to get off of this system. And I think we also need to start working across the aisles to restore decency. And I never in my life thought I'd say that in my country, but we're there, Joe. Oh yeah, we're there. We've lost it. When witches and warlocks and pay for porn and then the national pornography program happens in a woman's house, and you try to beat a woman down to the point that she'll never rise again so you can keep the money you stole, and then you spread lies everywhere to job block and harm them again so that you can keep the things you stole, right? We have a problem, okay? This is a Stinky Hill problem, right? And I don't say Stinky Hill lightly. I want to look at the shining beacon on the hill. That's what I always believed until, the lights went on. So we need to get busy, and we need to create change that works for everyone. And the two-party system has got to go. And you need to realize the only reason we have a party right now is because I stopped the coup. So I have people on both sides that are angry at me for standing up for what we all said that we believed in. Now I get it that the numbers no longer work, and so people want to get off of this. And Hitlerville was where we were headed. I stopped that. It wasn't easy, and it's only by the graces of good Republicans who heard my voice, who swung vote, that we still have a limping democracy. So I did what I felt was necessary to save my country, and I've been in danger since. So please pray for my family. And I'm going to give a shout out to the good, kind, loving Christians and Catholics who have been helping. You too can help, because we have good, decent Christians who have a moral code, who, want to live a decent, upright, righteous life, who have true belief system. And then we have, people who think they can steal and launder sex trafficking money and treat women like shit. And somebody has to help the other people in each of their groups to realize that these are not, moral things to do. And the fact that we have to talk to churches and teach that is a little startling. So I know bad things happen on my computer. I bought software, right? But I had nothing to do with it. And when things came down, I saved my country. I certainly saved my party. I stopped us from a huge fall where every federal person in the government who wasn't going to go along with what was about to happen would have had their job taken from them. Please put me in witness protection. I've paid for hitting that pause button more dearly than you could ever possibly know. And when I hear people in my own party are blocking me, we would not have a party if I had not done what I did. And that's the truth, right? I love my country very much, but it saddens me to see where we are. We need to work across the aisles. We need the most major reset you could ever imagine because we're losing it. God bless America. I hope you can see the truth. I hope you can get to the truth. I hope you don't cover up the truth, because every time we cover up this stuff, it gets worse. It's better to just face it and say, this is where we are. What do we need to do to find that shining beacon on the hill once again? God bless America. All right. Y'all have a great day. Peace and blessings.